Hello, everyone, and hello. I think I'm live. I can't tell if I'm live. I think I'm live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to What Would Dorsey Do? I'm Dorsey Kruger, the CEO and founder of the Conscious Co-Parenting Institute. And today we're going to be talking about emotional regulation. So, talking about why we cry so deeply on Mother's Day and really strategies to help you shift in your family dynamic. So, shift from an alienated parent into the role of a chosen parent and really taking a next step in the process of understanding. Who you are as the parent and how this is impacting you and what to do about it. So, my team and I are excited to bring this content to you today, and let's go ahead and dive in. So, if you haven't had the opportunity to hear me before talk about this family dynamic, I'm a formerly alienated child, reunited with my dad when I was an adult, and really started down this path of doing this work because when I was on my own journey, there was really nobody in the space solving the problem. When I discovered what the problem was, I went out on a discovery journey to figure out how to solve it. And you guys might be aware that reuniting with your children is really a major problem for a lot of parents because many parents have no idea what is happening in the beginning stages, so they don't know how to prevent it and they don't know what's happening. And when you find out what's happening in your family, oftentimes you're already fully in a complete emotionally cut off state with your children, or you've been through the family court system, and so you're struggling quite a bit, which causes mass emotional upheaval, massive amounts of frustration, depression, anxiety, confusion, despair. All of these things are common things that alienated parents experience. And it's not just here in the United States, this is a global epidemic. And the divorce industry is absolutely flooded with people. They're cropping up every day, trying to sell courses and programs and all kinds of things. And unfortunately, most people have no idea how to actually recover families. And most of you, if you still have minor children and you're in the legal system, then you're also aware of the very dysfunctional family court system. And the divorce industry is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and the majority of the people in this space are motivated to keep families stuck in this dysfunctional family dynamic. And just about every day, I hear questions from parents who are trying to evaluate their situation and trying to figure out how they got here. And one of the most destabilizing and confused and overwhelmed situation you will find yourself in. And many parents ask me, how can I solve this? I've tried everything. The system is broken. How do I get the judges or the lawyers or the mental health providers to understand? And why do I need to do anything? It's not me, it's the other parent. And then a lot of people slump into the despair that they really start to buy into a belief that their child doesn't love them. And I just want you to know here from the very beginning that that's just simply not true, that the bond between a parent and a child is never broken. It's just tucked below the surface for safekeeping. But these are common things that people believe, and these are things that hold people stuck, especially when they're unaware of what is contributing to the problem, or they don't know or believe that there's anything they can do. And so there's a lot of things that people come to us for, and there is a lot of that hopelessness when people first come into our world. And if this sounds familiar to you, that is common, and I want you to know that you're in the right place, that we are here to provide strategies and solutions for you. And all of these things that I'm talking about are just symptoms of a much greater issue, which is the issue of parents not really having a clear, easy to follow and implement strategy plan. And most parents that are struggling to reunite are so destabilized in the sadness and the anger and the frustration and the despair, really in fear, that they can't see the forest through the trees. And many parents that we talk to do the same thing over and over again, follow advice from people who have no answers for them. They listen to lawyers who are there to practice law, and they don't really have a solution. They follow their same old roadway of doing things, and lawyers know that the system is corrupt and they do things their way, and it doesn't provide a solution for parents, and oftentimes makes matters much, much worse. And oftentimes the fighting has no end in the family court system, and children are being abused and alienated from you. And maybe you're one of the parents who the lawyer got into reunification therapy. They got that ordered for you, and yet you're still not reunited with your child. And if that's you, you know what I'm talking about. Therapists don't have a plan. And if you ask for one, they get angry and defensive and put out that you even asked for such a thing, causing you to slump into even more despair. So the lawyers and therapists don't have a point A to B system that's easy to follow, a solution for you. They don't have a clear roadmap that has been proven to help people just like you recover your children. And you do everything they say and nothing is working. So you slump further and further into the upset emotions of this family dynamic. And we get calls every day asking for referrals for lawyers and therapists. And when we explain to parents, calling that the steps needed to recover their children and how to do it and walking them through the scenario, they still want to fall back into the old roadway of being. It's mind-boggling to me. And if this is you, you should be asking yourself, why do you think doing the same thing over and over again and expecting to achieve a different result is going to work the next time? So I'm talking with parents all the time. And the other day I was speaking with a client who had a terrible evaluation after years of nothing happening in the family court system. And I spoke to the evaluator last year who lied about what I said and provided a step up plan, which is nothing, by the way. There are several therapists involved, including psychologists, a parenting coordinator with no reunification strategy or plan. And I spoke with the parenting coordinator, and she was surprised at all of the work that the targeted parent had done since the evaluator left that out of his report. And as a matter of fact, the evaluator spent the majority of the time on the phone with me, telling me how great he was and how long he had been doing evaluations, and then proceeded to try to put words in my mouth. And it was an abomination of a call, and even worse, the evaluation was held up by the evaluator until the targeted parent paid him thousands of more dollars to provide a worthless garbage report. And honestly, I have seen this play out over and over again as well. And I just shake my head. And some days I wonder, why do I stay here? Why do I keep saying the same thing over and over again? Why am I here? I could be doing a million other things that I'm very good at doing. And then I am reminded of my own despair as a parent and an adult child when I went out in search of an answer, a solution for my own family. And there was one. There was none. There was no one who was willing to help me. No one who really understood what the solution was. Just a lot of experts in a problem. And, I remember all of the faces of the children whose lives were forever changed for the better when they were reunited with their beloved parent, and we restored the entire family system. And I'm reminded when I do my monthly group calls and healing sessions And I'm in awe of the extraordinary leaps forward that the parents make in these calls, and even the Chosen Parent Collective, which was last night, and the shares, and how parents are sharing what they're learning and how it's working, and how my team and I have changed their life, and how they're recovering their children. And I'm reminded of the parents who say yes to themselves and yes to doing the work that needs to be done to recover their children. And last night, a mom who had not shown up for a couple of months has shifted how she shows up and how hard she was making it. And one of my quotes that kept ringing in her head was, "It's hard until it isn't, and then it's easy." And she not only has a relationship with her now beloved young adult daughter, she also has recovered her teenage daughter. And the most profound shift is the shift within herself. She used to come to the collective slumped down in the dark, laying on the couch in the most deep, deep despair. I mean, just some deep pain that I know all of you who are listening have tapped into and may be tapped into now. And as a group of these lovely, beloved, chosen parents hold her energetically with such loving grace, while I gently and firmly guided her back to her truth. I guide her to the lessons of healing and reminding her that she's more powerful than she thinks, and reminding her that the solution is right there at her fingertips. And she had not been to the calls, like I said, for a couple of months. And she showed up last night to share her wins of reunification and recovery with a deep bow of gratitude. And she was illuminated. She was so bright. And she was sitting up and illuminated. That's the best word I can think of to describe her last night, a bright, shiny light for all of us to see. And with so much love and gratitude for the shift that she has made, the shifts that she's made, and going through the things that we teach, this beautiful process of this internal healing, becoming the light, becoming the leader of the family as the chosen parent. And how the mom with the horrible evaluation and the legal situation that's just an abomination, how she's shifted out of her despair and into an illuminated path of her purpose and deeper understanding of what it all means, connecting back into the love of her child in connection to his soul. And she now wants to help others by getting certified as one of our coaches. And that she started doing this work internally, and she's pulled herself together and has implemented emotional regulation strategies that we teach. And she's learned and mastered these strategies to recover her child. And she could easily have stayed stuck, but she made a different decision, and it's taken a totally different path for her. And she shifted, and she's becoming a coach with us, and she is taking what she's learned and she's helping others. So instead of spinning in the pile that we be much on Mother's Day, both of these moms chose to have a different experience. Mother's Day should be celebrated joyfully, where there's no need to suffer due to the toxic tactics of the other parent. If you're experiencing this similar pain caused by alienation, then I want you to know that there are ways to overcome those feelings of sadness, guilt, shame around this parenting problem by focusing on shifting how you show up through self-care and seeking the help from somebody like myself, certified reunification coaches trained specifically to address this family dynamic. And when you do this, you can shift your emotional state and attract your child back into your life again. And over time, with the patience and perseverance, love has shown that when you shift this into that space of unconditional love, you will attract your child back to you. And this is where learning to regulate your emotions and shift the rejection story of the alienated parent, ripping that label off, and putting a new label on of the magnetic attractor in your reunification story as the chosen parent. So let me explain. You see, the parents on the path of recovering their children understand that they have to evaluate and understand their emotions and behaviors and contributions to the problem. When you understand the root cause of your feelings and reactions by acknowledging and examining your own emotions, then you can identify any unresolved issues or triggers that may be contributing to the problem of alienation. For example, let's take Mother's Day. This is a day to celebrate mothers and their love. And for a lot of alienated moms who've been separated from their children due to alienation, this day can be very, very painful. And alienation is a form of emotional abuse where one parent manipulates the child against the other parent. And if you're stuck in the mindset of targeted parent, often you experience feelings of rejection, loss, grief, and anger. And after years of being separated from your child due to alienation tactics, an alienated mom can feel like she has lost everything in her life, including herself. And on Mother's Day, when society is celebrating mothers and their love and their children, and they're expressing gratitude for moms through cards and gifts and sharing happy moments together, oftentimes alienated moms are triggered into intense emotions in the heart of the mom, and thinking that despite all of the efforts made over time trying to reconnect with their beloved children, they failed so far because they were not able to reach out effectively enough. So they slump into self-loathing, unworthiness, and stuckness. And in order for these moms to shift their emotional state during this very difficult period, there needs to first be self-regulation using specialized techniques when implemented that will help you calm down the negative thoughts and feelings associated with sadness, guilt, shame, and grief related to the memories around parenting issues caused by the alienating behaviors. So when we are evaluating our own emotions and behaviors, it allows us to recognize how our mindset and actions might be exasperating the situation by how we are responding to the pathology, by how we are internalizing the pathology into our own unconscious belief system. So sometimes parents respond with anger or defensiveness, or they're sad and weepy, so they fall into despair. And when they're confronted by the other parent or the child, they are believing the things that the child is saying, the repeating of the other parent. And so they're believing something about themselves that just simply isn't true. And this can further damage the relationship and fuel more animosity, and worse, more alienation. So mindfulness meditation practices focused on the recovery and visualizing techniques focused on the attention, focusing your attention on what you want versus what you don't want, holding the images in your head, physical activities that connect your mind, body, and soul are all ways to bring you into alignment on what you want and out of the negative spin zone. So it's important to have trusted family and a trusted support group, a coach, somebody who understands and supports you and guides you on how to actually cope better, and better yet, even shift how your mindset, how you're showing up by shifting your mindset. To shift your emotional well-being requires you to shift your focus on what you have control over rather than what you don't. So you need to realize that while you may not be able to change the behavior of the other parent, you can still take action towards your own healing process, which will ultimately benefit your child in the long run. So taking ownership of your role in the alienation story can lead to a positive change in behavior moving forward, and a shift in your mindset, and repair the damaged relationship over time through consistent effort. So when we shift out of fear and despair and into the place of self-love, we're able to shift from rejection to attraction. Many alienated parents are struggling with giving from an empty cup. Because you haven't filled up your own cup, you're you're giving from your own cup and it's empty. And we must first fill up our cup, shift our emotional container, and allow it to spill out into the saucer, and we give from our saucer. Self-care is not selfish. It's critically important to take care of yourself and to shift the mindset so that you can have a higher level of emotional awareness. Ultimately, when you evaluate your emotions and your behaviors and contributions, this helps promote self-awareness, which aids in developing healthier coping mechanisms during stressful situations related to co-parenting in this complex family dynamic. So it also helps minimize the impact on your children who are experiencing stress due to the family conflict caused by this pathology. So when you identify your strengths and weaknesses in parenting, not from a place of judgment, from a place of empowerment, you know what you can do to become the soft place for your beloved children to land. They want to fold back in to your unconditionally loving arms, not despair. If you're not managing your emotions and you're not shifting to the place of consciousness and unconditional love, it's hard for the children to fall in. They're already managing the other parent. So it's important for you as a beloved chosen parent to recognize the impact of alienation on your children. Children who are subjected may experience heavy emotional distress like you're experiencing, anxiety and depression and other negative outcomes. And as a result, it's essential for you to take proactive steps in addressing these issues within yourself so that you can reflect something else back, a higher vibration of consciousness and love. So as alienated moms start working on building healthy relationships with themselves first, and this is for dads too, but we're just on the heels of Mother's Day, so I wanted to give moms a little bit of love, a little bit of extra love. But as you work on yourself through self-care activities, such as taking time out every day to work on yourself using self-love techniques and exercises, reading a book, listening to music, things that uplift your mood, and practicing gratitude where you list things out that you're grateful for, even if they're small. When we address these things and we build up our internal container, then it spills out over into our saucer. When we're addressing alienation, it requires both patience and persistence from you, the beloved chosen parent, in these situations. And it may take time before you fully understand, like the moms I shared with you earlier, which leads me to share just how important it is to do the work and how important it is for me even to continue to repeat what I've said many, many times over. And it's a reminder that sometimes you need to hear something more than one time. And, you know, I was reading something or somebody shared with me the other day that it takes 11 times to hear something before it really sinks in, or 11 times for somebody to see something before they buy it. So it makes sense that sometimes I feel like a broken record, and then it makes sense that even as a parent, you hear it differently every time, like, oh, this is something new. So in these situations, it's really important as a beloved chosen parent to learn how others who have successfully reunited with their children create plans for personal improvement and self-awareness. Creating a plan for personal improvement helps you as a parent focus on what you can control. So what you can control in your situation, you can control yourself, and you can identify those areas where you need to improve yourself as an individual and take responsibility for your part in the family dynamic. It's a whole family problem that requires a whole family solution, but it only takes one person in the family to shift how they show up. And in that shift in awareness and in action creates a mirror effect, right? A shift in everyone else. So self-awareness is crucial when dealing with your beloved children. It allows you to understand why your child may be feeling hurt or angry towards you, even if you disagree. So through the self-reflection and introspection, you can identify those patterns in your own behavior that may have contributed to the alienation and make changes accordingly. Now, if you're hearing me say that and what comes to mind is blame is a trauma response. It's a trauma word. So if you're stuck in that mindset, then I encourage you to watch this again and encourage you to shift into the mindset of responsibility. Responsibility puts you back in the driver's seat. Blame holds you stuck in the victim mindset, alienated parent. Responsibility puts you into the driver's seat as the chosen parent, which means you get to take more conscious, self-aware, proactive action. So developing emotional intelligence is essential when we're trying to reunite with our beloved children. It means learning how to manage our emotions effectively so that communication between us and our children remains respectful and productive instead of developing into arguments and blame. So creating a plan of self-improvement really helps build resilience by building blocks of conscious communication, self-awareness, and trust. And through the difficult times, while we're increasing confidence in our ability to know how to shift how we're showing up, it will help you feel more prepared about the interactions that you have with your beloved children. And the parents that we help reunite with their children create plans focused on improving themselves personally first, primarily because alienation, which oftentimes occurs mainly due to unresolved issues within the family dynamic and unresolved issues within ourselves, why we even attracted the person that we were married to and had children with. And when you understand this little secret nobody really wants to talk about, because it is crucial to master to fully recover your relationship with your beloved children. Everything starts with you. And what I've just shared with you is actually the second step in our Reconnect program. So the Alienated Parents Reunification Roadmap is a 9-step process, and it's 3 phases. And it is the clearest and most predictable and proven system for anyone curious about doing what it takes to recover your relationship with your alienated children. And it does require proactive action, and any reunification plan does. And we partner with you in the Reconnect program as we guide you through each step of the way. So the first phase is reflection. So the first part of the reflection is the alienation decoder system, where we really help you decode the alienation story in your life. And we go deep in this program. We don't leave the stones unturned. So the first phase is really excavation. So we're excavating and reflecting. How did we get here? And then I shared with you the emotional regulator process. This is really where we help you evaluate your personal emotions and create a plan for personal improvement and self-awareness so that you can take action fast. So you can shift out of the mindset of the rejected, alienated parent and into the mindset of the chosen parent. And I shared a couple stories with you today about moms who in the past suffered and they were miserable on Mother's Day. And this year they had a totally different experience. And they had been stuck here in the emotional regulator stage. And once they had their light bulb moments, once they were able to shift the dynamic quickly and progress through the process, they were able to shift how they show up. And people get stuck here a lot, and sometimes are stuck in blame and despair for years. And it does not serve you or the recovery of your relationship with your children. And the good news is that we guide you each step of the way, and we can guide you through all of these places that parents commonly get stuck. And this is just step 2. Parents get stuck in step 2 so often and have a really difficult time even getting past that. So we really gently guide you through a beautiful process. Then after that, we help you embrace responsibility for change. The responsibility pledge framework means creating a reunification plan and enacting it. So no more guessing what to do and how do I do it, and what's the plan. We help you put your plan together. And then we move into the second phase of rebuilding, and it starts with communication. And the process of conscious communication requires mastery, the mastery of honest and assertive communication. And once you have that strong foundation, then building on the foundation, we start with communication. And communication is so much easier when we help you know what to say and how to say it and why you say it and the things you need to say and what you're currently saying is not working and why, and the core mechanisms of really staying focused on how to communicate in the proper way, pouring unconditional love into your beloved children. Then we move to building resilience. So self-care, managing your stress, through our resilience builder system, learning how to tap into your body and regulate your emotions so that you can co-regulate with your child. And then the trust stage is the final stage of phase 2 in the rebuilding. The trust architect is really, once you have a strong foundation, you're learning to communicate and you've built resilience. Building the trust is mission critical. It's hard to build any relationship without trust. And most alienated kids are operating at a deficit because they believe something that isn't true, even though deep down they know that it's not true. And so shifting how you show up creates the space of the soft place to land for your child to trust fall back into your beloved arms. And then the final phase is reconnection. So the reconnect phase, once we have the foundation and we've built the walls of communication and resilience and trust, then we start with the reconnection, the initiating of low pressure reconnection. And in this phase, you learn how to attract your child back using all of the skills you started implementing in phase 2. And then we help you leverage professional support. So for those of you that are working with professionals, you need to know how to ally the professionals working with your family. I started off sharing how many people call us for lawyers and mental health providers. And, the truth is, most of those people are incompetent when it comes to the family dynamic. That's just the reality of the situation. And most parents who have stumbled into my work or Dr. Childress, you go marching into the lawyer's office or the therapist's office to say, this is how it's done, and they don't like it. You're poking at their ego and they don't want to be told that they're doing something wrong. Their very livelihood depends on you staying stuck in the round and round and round and round. And so there is a way to attract the professionals to you and to get them to ally with you and even get them to think that the solution is their idea. And we go through that with you if you're working with professionals or if you're wanting to work with professionals. And then the final step is to cultivate patience and persistence. Most parents, they lose patience and persistence because they've been doing the wrong thing for a really long time. So you feel hopeless and despair, and you've tried all these things that haven't worked, and you have to cultivate the patience to achieve reunification. And the persistence compass system helps guide you through each step of the Reconnect program and cultivating patience and persistence so that you can go the distance. Because it's not enough to just kick the door open. You want the child to fold back in and stay in. And for those of you that have had some reunification success, i.e. the child shows up, many people don't do the right things and then the child disappears again and they can't figure out what happened. And this is common. We hear this all of the time. And being a formerly alienated child, it's because you, as the chosen parent, are stuck in the mindset of the victim mindset, the alienated parent, and one wrong move, one wrong things that aren't working, and the child disappears. You have to know how to stay in the space of the chosen parent. So you're the easy parent. You want to make it easy for your child to fold back in. So if you want to get crystal clear on following these steps and you want to know how to do this and you want to be guided through this process with us, then I already see my team popped a link maybe, or maybe that's on YouTube, but they'll pop a link in the chat so that you can schedule a call with somebody on my team and they can talk to you about this strategy and how you can build your reunification plan to achieve the reunification that you're looking for with your children in 90 days or less. So this is the 90-day program. It includes some group coaching with me or group healing sessions with me. So a couple times a month, I do come into a private group where I guide you through some of the deep healing that we go through when we go through the content together. It's really powerful and gives you the tools and then the guidance to implement what it is that you're learning. So if you're committed to recovering your relationship with your beloved children and healing, you're open to seeking help and guidance from somebody who's further along in the journey, who's helped thousands of families reunite, who has a step-by-step system that works, and you're ready to invest and make a lifelong change for the sake of creating a healthy relationship with your beloved children, click the link, schedule a strategy session to speak with somebody on my team. I look forward to speaking with you in the Reconnect program and having you fold into our beautiful community. So I just want to remind you that it's important as parents to understand that while alienation is a form of abuse, it does not have to define you as an individual, nor does it have to define you as a parent. And by acknowledging this fact and seeking help from someone who specializes in reunification, you can recover your beloved children and maybe even find a career in the process, turning your pain into purpose, like the mom I shared earlier, who has enrolled in becoming one of our reunification coaches. And for those of you who don't know, Dr. Childress is looking for coaches to refer business to, and has said that obviously he trusts me and the work that we do. And so if you want to become part of that referral network, then with Dr. Childress, then enroll in our coach training and we'd be happy to get you certified so that you can also be helping families. So thank you so much for listening in. Remember, you have to have peace in so that you can have peace out. Let's go get your kids back. Bye for now.